Hey there guys, welcome to the next time lapse here on the Duct Tape Stuff channel. I'm going to be making a Harley Quinn time lapse in this video, which is going to be really cool. Decided I'm going to make the background a gray color, and I kind of had to pick a contrasting color because most of her costume is kind of red, white, and black, so I decided the gray would be pretty cool. And then you can see the image right there. First thing I'm going to do is work on part of her costume here, part of her outfit, and that's that white collar that she has. And I'm just going to cut this out, just this part first. I popped a new blade in the hobby knife there, so this whole video should be full fairly clean cuts, more or less, because whenever I put a new blade in, it tends to work out pretty well. So I did have to do a little bit of trimming, as you can see there, but it did work out pretty well. So now I'm going to use that paper image to know exactly where to stick it down, and then we're going to work on the left side of her costume next. And I kind of overlapped the tape a whole bunch of different ways. Had to do a little bit extra here, so you can see me put another little piece down, and then yeah, I'm going to work on that there. And I use the packaging tape in kind of a crisscross pattern because I don't want to get too much onto her face, because I'm going to have to cut that out later, so I have to work on that. Some trivia about her: her full name is Harley Quinzel, and her name is obviously a play on the word Harlequin. And she was actually introduced in the actual Batman animated series cartoon. She wasn't actually, like in the comics before the cartoon. Now, she did eventually make her way into the comics, but she was first introduced for the TV show. And it's kind of funny because when you're watching the TV show, like, you can probably pull up some of the episodes on YouTube. She doesn't seem like she was made just for the cartoon. You would never think that she was just made up for it. You'd think that she was always just a regular comic book character, which she eventually did become, because she was so popular in the actual cartoon series. So I'm going to work on part of her her headdress there, or her hat. I have to line it up with the bottom here. Kind of a little bit of a puzzle decoration for this one. And I have those two little, they're probably like bells or just puff balls on the end of her hat there. And the interesting part about the black part here for her other part of her hat is that it's totally in black, and you can't really tell. If you look at the top left corner where you can see the picture, it's totally black. So I can't, just imagine where the lines are. I have to flip this red piece over and then use that. So I'm not going to use that red around her face there. It's kind of just background. So I'm just going to let the gray on the actual painting be the background. So now I have those two pieces. I just have to line them up straight on top. And a good part of this section is going to be covered up by her face, so I really don't need to worry about it lining it up right in the center. Half of what you're going to see is going to be covered up by her face in the top right corner there. So I got it right about on there. That should work out pretty well. Now I'm going to work on cutting out her face. Her face is going to be pretty much totally layering decoration. It's going to have a lot of the with her eye mask and her mouth and everything. I'm going to be using a lot of layering decoration for that. So I'm just going to trim that up a little bit, find out exactly where to stick it, and I'm going to put that right about there. Looks pretty good. Now I need to work on her eye mask, and then I'm going to work on her nose. I don't think I was able to fit her mouth onto this one piece. I probably could have, but I decided to work on it separately because I didn't want to mess up that eye mask that I have on there already. Alright, so now I need to know exactly where to stick that. I'm going to stick it right there, and that's her nose. And I'm going to work on her mouth next. And that's just going to cut that piece out, and then I'm going to cut out a smaller white piece, and that'll go right on top of that black piece. Used a lot of red, white, and black in this time lapse here. And the next thing after this, I'm going to work on her eyes, and I'm going to kind of work on cutting out those. And she does have these blue eyes, so I'm going to use the electric blue for that. And you'll see me pick that up in just a second. So working on those, and there's the electric blue. Going to freehand the eyes. Doesn't really make too much sense just to stick them right on, because they're pretty small and they're pretty basic. So there's the one eye, and there's the second. Now I'm going to work on doing her name, and I'm actually going to freehand the name. I usually freehand a lot of my letters like this just to make sure they're all the same height. I'm cutting them out the same size. I'm going to rotate back and forth between black and red here. So work on the H, then there's the A on the black. I'm going to go back to the red, and there's 6 letters total, so obviously there'll be 3 red and 3 black. Pretty simple mathematics. So cutting all those out now. Really hard to see what I'm doing, but you'll be able to tell when I peel up all the tape. There you can see all the letters. So I'm going to stick those right down here on the bottom. The black tended to be a little bit shorter than the red, but you can't really tell when you stick them all, together like this. So it won't make too much of a difference. So now I'm going to put the E on, and then finally the Y. I want to do something else for this video. I didn't want to just end it on there, so I decided to do the bat signal in the background. This is one of the older bat signals from one of the old, I'm pretty sure this was one from the Tim Burton movie. And I actually cut this entire thing out. It kind of looks like a comet when you cut the whole thing out. You'll see what I mean right there. It kind of looks like a comet. But actually, when I applied this to the piece here, I found out that it was actually too small, or not really long enough. So you'll see that in a few seconds. I actually had to cut out a totally different one. But I'm not going to know that yet. I would find out pretty soon. So that's the old style bat signal. I'm going to cut that out on there because you can't have the bat signal without the actual black part on the inside. So I'm just going to peel that up very carefully. It's a really simple image to mess up because there's a lot of different little pieces. So I'm going to peel that up. I'm not going to stick the bat signal on yet. And right about now I noticed it was too small. So I cut out another one. That's the one you see right there. I need to do a little bit of trimming to make sure that it's, it's behind her. So that looks really nice. And then I can take that piece and stick it right on the top here. And this is going to complete the time lapse. So hopefully you guys liked the video, and I'll catch you guys next time on the channel. Harley Quinn time lapse, pretty cool. And hopefully you liked the video.